Interchange and Passages Placement Test. This placement test program is part of the Interchange series by Jack C. Richards with Jonathan Hull and Susan Proctor, and the Passages series by Jack C. Richards and Chuck Sandy. This audio program contains recordings that correspond to the listening section of the Objective Placement Test, Forms A, B, and C. Published by Cambridge University Press. This recording is copyrighted.
Objective Placement Test A. Section 1. Listening. In this section of the test, you will hear conversations and answer some questions about them. For each conversation, first read the situation and the question or questions. Then listen to the conversation. Answer the questions after you hear the conversation. Respond to the questions by marking the correct answer A, B, C, or D on your answer sheet. Read the example situation and question. Now listen to the example conversation.
Dr. Stockton's office, may I help you?
This is Bill Sanchez. I need to see the doctor, please.
How about Tuesday at 10, Mr. Sanchez?
I'm busy then. Can I come on Wednesday?
Is 4 o'clock okay?
That's fine.
Now answer the example question. The answer for the example is D, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. The letter D is filled in on your answer sheet. Now go on to page 3. Read situation 1 and the question. Now listen to the conversation.
Hi, Monica.
Oh, hi, David. How are you?
Fine, thanks. By the way, this is my friend Tomomi.
Hi, Tomomi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Monica.
Now answer question 1. Read situation 2 and the question. Now listen to the conversation.
So, are you having the steak, Ken?
Actually, I'm having the chicken.
What? I thought you really liked steak.
I do. I eat it all the time. I just don't feel like it tonight.
Now answer question 2. Read situation 3 and the question. Now listen to the conversation.
Hello, this is Karen. May I speak with Jason, please?
I'm sorry, Karen. He isn't back from work yet. Can I take a message?
When do you think he'll be back?
Probably in about an hour.
That's fine then. Please just ask him to call me when he gets in.
Now answer question 3. Now go on to page 4. Read situation 4 and the questions. Now listen to the report.
Now for the National Weather Report. Time to put on your winter clothes in the Northeast. It will be cold and snowy in Boston, with a temperature of 28 degrees Fahrenheit. In Miami, the weather will be very different, 80 degrees and clear. In Seattle, it's not so nice, cool and cloudy, with a temperature of 55 degrees, but at least no rain.
Now answer questions 4 and 5. Read situation 5 and the questions. Now listen to the conversation.
Hi, Jennifer. How would you like to go to dinner and a movie tonight? There's a great film at the Metro.
I'd love to, Bill, but I'm working late tonight. I don't get off until 7. What time's the movie?
The movie starts at 7:30. That doesn't leave us enough time. Oh, I know. Let's go to dinner after the movie.
I guess that will be okay. I'll just eat a late lunch.
Now answer questions 6 and 7. Now go on to page 5. Read situation 6 and the questions. Now listen to the conversation.
What are you going to do this summer, Jim?
Well, it depends. Usually my family just stays home, so I go to the beach a lot or visit friends. But this year we're planning to rent a cabin up in the mountains.
So, what will you do up in the mountains?
My dad likes to go fishing, but that's a little boring for me, so I'm thinking of doing some hiking on my own.
That sounds great. I wish I could join you.
Now answer questions 8 and 9. Read situation 7 and the questions. Now listen to the conversation.
What's wrong, Phil? You look upset.
I am upset, Susie. You know, my friend Albert borrowed $100. I gave it to him because he said he'd give it back right away.
Well, what happened?
He just started his new job, so now he says he can't pay me back until he gets paid. But I'm going on a trip and I need the money now.
Can't you borrow it from someone else?
I can always get it from my parents if I need to, but it makes me mad. I shouldn't have given him the money.
I know how you feel. Giving money to a friend can affect a relationship, especially when you don't get it back right away. That's why I never lend money to friends.
Now answer questions 10, 11, and 12. Now go on to page 6. Read situation 8 and the questions. Now listen to the conversation.
Have you traveled outside the U.S., Chuck?
Yes, I have. My dad does business in Brazil, so I've been down there with him a few times. And I went backpacking in Europe the summer after I graduated from high school.
Oh, what was that like?
It was a trip I'll always remember. I traveled with a friend from high school, and we went just about everywhere. I think about the only country we missed was Portugal, although I really would have liked to have seen it. How about you, Natalie? Have you traveled much?
Not traveled exactly, but I have lived out of the country. A few years ago, I participated in a study abroad program in Japan.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
It was. I lived with a Japanese family and learned a lot about the culture. The only problem I had was the language. I had expected to pick it up a lot quicker.
Well, it sounds like a great experience. But as much as I love to travel, I don't think I could actually move to another country. I'd get too homesick.
Now answer questions 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now go on to page 7. Read situation 9 and the questions. Now listen to the conversation.
So how did you get into advertising, Conrad?
Well, you know, Diane, I had just finished college, and a friend of mine who was working in an advertising firm heard about an opening in his company. I applied for it, and it just started from there.
Do you ever regret that you didn't go into some other kind of work?
When I was younger, I had dreams of being a doctor, helping people and all that. But then I found out how long it takes. I didn't have the patience for that. In fact, if I'd decided to become a doctor, I'd probably still be in school now. How about you, Diane? Did you think you'd grow up to be anything else?
You know, I always had this idea that I'd go into business for myself. But my parents discouraged me from doing that.
Oh, why did they do that?
My mom and dad had a restaurant for a while. They were pretty successful at it, but there were lots of ups and downs. They lost money some years, and they had to work really hard.
Well, sometimes I wish I had become a doctor. But advertising is challenging work, and I really like it.
Now answer questions 17, 18, 19, and 20. This is the end of the listening section of Objective Placement Test A. Now go on to page 8 and begin the reading section.